Hello everybody, welcome back as ever to Building Blocks, where we program Minecraft mods live on camera and watch as things inevitably go wrong. And tonight we are continuing with the very popularly voted for option from last week, which is legs. Last week we amputated Minecraft's Cedar legs, and then for a bit he was hovering around about a foot off the ground. And then we replaced his legs with new, better legs, mostly imported from Dave. So, that was a thing that happened, and since then I have done a little bit more work so that things are a little bit more dynamic. Dynamic is maybe the wrong word, because it is pre-coded, but a little bit more fleshed out and tidier and such. And here we are in our test world, and we can see that I'm wearing armor. I'm wearing armor that logically should not be visible if I am, for instance, wearing satyr legs. And if I take our satyr legs and plonk those on, we can see that I retain my leggies, my boots, because we had a little bit of coding that meant that we only we specifically checked which parts of vanilla armor rendering would not be viable with a given leg model. And formerly, that would have just removed the entirety of the leggings and left the boots. But now, we can see that I do in fact have a little armored cummerbund right there. Because now, I'm actually really specifying exactly which parts of the body for vanilla armor rendering do not work with the legs. So, the leg parts for the leggings, gone. But the leggings also have an actual armor, like, on the body parts section. Because apparently Minecraft Steve has a waistline? Apparently. So, yeah, that's neat. Which then means that we are now able to actually specify on not only an armor level, but also on an item stack level, which portions of the body should be hidden. So we can hide the torso, we can hide one of each arms, or both of them, same with the legs and the head. And that means that we can have asymmetrical cosmetics. And it also means that we can show as much of the vanilla armor layers as we are feasibly able to without causing massive horrific model conflicts. Which means that your armor is as visible as we can make it, which is nice. I always like being able to actually see what armor a player is actually wearing. I'm not a huge fan of being able to wade into battle looking like you're completely naked, but actually you have fully enchanted netherite or whatever on you. I know why people do that. It's because the skin is a big part of personal expression in this game, so not having that option, yeah, I get it. But it makes things rough on a strategic level, so yeah, like, my character in Clockwork and Memory has been running around with, like, Frost Dragon armor the entire time, and you would never have been able to know if I didn't open the inventory screen. Just bleh. But we have a few new legs, so of course we have the satyrs that we did last week. I feel like these thighs need a bit more fuzz to them. Let me know if I should add, like, a headwear layer on that. Just as an idea. The fuzz is about the only part that actually gets dyed, so there's that. Let me take off the boots and whatnot so we can get a full impression of this. So yep, there they are. Jaunty little hooves. Nice. We then have Cobalt Legs, which I added shortly after that, which are literally just legs from kobolds. If I head over here, we can actually see that they are, in fact, exactly that model. I might redo it a little bit. I feel like these come forward a bit too much. The further, the greater the depth on the Z-axis, which is to say forwards and backwards from your character, the more bizarre and, like, absurdly exaggerated the swinging of your legs are, especially if you're in creative mode and flying, because you go, like, ridiculous amounts there. Like, look at that. That feels kind of absurd. I could fix that if I copied code from the wargs, because when the wargs' hind legs, which are very similar to these, like, move upwards, let me see, can I get a good shot of this? There we go, this part. I think that's called the ankle in my model files, I'm not sure. That part retracts further to the actual thigh there, so consequently it folds up, so there's less when it's really far forward or really far backwards, which helps a bit. It does look a little bit too highly animated to me for Minecraft, but yeah, it's that. Once again, these are also dyeable, though much like our stator, I think currently almost all of the legs I've implemented are overlaid, which is to say that they have a textured part that is dyeable and a texture part that is always the same. In this case, it is the inner thigh of our kobolds, which I might, looking at this, I might want to split these apart a little bit, because there's a little bit of... kobolds have a thigh gap, is the simplest and quickest way to describe what I'm thinking of there, but... Okay, so, once I had the kobolds implemented, they were more or less the baseline for reptilians, so I have then implemented dragon legs, and yes, we don't have full item textures for these just yet, but bleh. So if we have a look at these... So these have a bit of a power stance to them. They are slightly splayed. And I think that adds to a sense of strength and sturdiness to them. Because dragon legs should feel strong, in short. Unlike the Cobalt Legs, their thigh parts are significantly angled down. They have a beefier bridge at the back, as well as a beefier, significantly chunkier foot. And these actually might be fully dyed. I'm not 100% certain, I don't remember exactly. Let's find out, shall we? Dragon legs and green dye, for no apparent real reason why I'm making that decision. Okay, yeah, these are fully dyeable. So, there we go. They are also textured, these are final textures, which is to make them very much in line with our dragon tail. So, have a look at that. Have a look at the caboose there. Fits perfectly. Yep, very good. These legs so far, however, are all very simple. These are just straight up replacements. We are just replacing the leg with something that also that has a different model, but still nonetheless behaves identically to Steve's usual legs. Steve or Alex, I should say. Minecraft players in general. I could theoretically have this scooch up a little bit when they sneak. There's an idea. But yeah, that is dragon right there. And there is one more that I have been working on this past evening, as the Naga Tail. Now, tail would make you think that this is a tail and not a leg, but depending upon the mythos, Nagas have a snake's lower body, which is to say that it's technically a tail, but yeah, anyways, this is the textures on this are not final. I have not figured out as yet if I want these to be overlay or fully dyeable, but yeah. Just noticing you used my tail texture. I didn't use your tail texture, but I did make something similar to it, I guess. It looks good. was not intentional, it's just that there is not a lot of gradients inside of the Ender Dragon, which was my base. But yeah. So, here we have the Naga Legs. And these are very animated. This whole cosmetic, that chunk there, has about as, I think, possibly more parts to it than the entirety of the horse back there. Definitely more than the pig. So, by my usual standards of keeping the cube count low and such, this is complete heresy. This is horrifying. This is an abomination and should never be touched. But snakes are like the edge case for the most difficult thing to make in a low polygon form, especially as low a polygon form as Minecraft. So, yeah, it's snake-like limbs and whatnot are always going to be a massive pain in the neck with regards to that. It is also pretty highly animated. So right now I'm stood still. We can see that the finer point at the end there is doing a little bit of a wiggle, not a whole ton, just a teeny bit, because it is basically a tail. If I sneak, the whole thing coils up like that, which I think that looks pretty good. If I walk around, we have significant wiggle, which it's not a perfect sine wave kind of snake wiggle, but it's not like a sidewinder or anything. But I think it works enough to give the impression of what's going on, and continues to do that even if we're sneaking. The really hard part with this is the reason there's a pig over there. Does the worm whilst sneaking? Yeah, a little bit. So the really hard part is that when you're sitting on a pig, or any mount, really, including a minecart or anything, your normal character has a very specific changing to his legs. His legs go slightly up and apart, so that you are effectively straddling whatever you're in. This includes a minecart. I don't know why you straddle a minecart, but yeah. And that is also used frequently for any mod that adds some kind of seat. Which means that we can't do that, because we're a snake. We can't separate our legs. So that then gave me the question of, how do I make the snake sit? In short. Because snakes can move... Snakes can reorient every, like, cell, more or less, of their body going down. They have extremely dense spines. We don't. This tail has 8 parts. It can't do that. And more importantly, the parts in between don't exist, so we can't just stretch anything. So I can't, like, have the tail coil or anything. I can't really have it go over the side, as it were, without it potentially looking very strange in a lot of mount conditions. So I mildly destroyed my search algorithm recommendations, so that I could find a bunch of artwork to reference of people with snake lower bodies and such sitting on horses. This is the thing you've drawn me to, chat. This is the thing for which you are responsible. And I ultimately concluded that having a snake sit and such, more or less, just means having them coil. So, or less. Like a spring, effectively. And that is the best I can find that will fit meaningfully in the most contexts. But it's also impossible to achieve with this model. So, there is a second, like, actual model for this. And that's just kind of the pose that you go into when you have Naga legs and you're sitting on a mount of any kind. Your little, like, tippy tip there is still doing its little wiggle, but this is meant to be, like, a spiral, effectively. This is as good as I can get for the most part, bearing in mind that by volume, this is already more, like, greater volume than the actual tail. So, that's just, like, what we deal with, really. That's what we got. Just, yeah. We look a little bit like we've melted, I'm not gonna lie. Again, these are not final textures, but I think it's good enough. What do we think? It's not my best work, but this is a challenge and a half. So, like, in theory, I could just do this with one cuboid. You just, like, get onto a mount and you're basically just sat in a plate. Like, bleh. But this is decent, I think. Yeah, you turn into goo. But yes, I hope we're happy. I'm not 100% happy with this part here when you're standing. It looks a bit too abrupt. It feels kind of like the drop at the ground there is just, like, too angular, and then it feels like there's too much weight too far over the rest of the tail to actually provide, like, meaningful support. I don't know why I'm thinking about support in a game where most blocks defy gravity entirely, but still. Here's that. How do you hop? Bleh. There's no animation to jumping, so it's just like bleh, bleh. I don't turn you into a spring for a split second, if that's what you're asking, Cam. But anyways, yeah, I think it's a decent like shot there. Anyways, so I'm just gonna switch back to dragon leggies. Let's go with black dragon leggies. Why not? just for now, because I like them. I feel like I'll probably reuse most of the dragon leg model for dog legs, or werewolf legs, whatever you want to describe them as, really. And then we've also got a bunch more on the short list to include. Don't think we'll get to all these tonight, certainly not, but just to show off the short list, we have dog legs, we have fox legs, which I think are going to be mainly dog legs on a diet. They should be very angular by comparison. We have the Naga Tail, we have, we've got the Naga Tail, we just need final textures on that. Mermaid Fin is probably going to be borrowing a lot from the Naga Tail. Oh, that's right, yes, of course, I've just remembered. There are some more details to the Naga Tail, because being a full and complete replacement, we actually needed to have different animations specific to different contexts. We can't just lean on what the legs do normally. So here is the Naga Tail when you are like in crawling or flying mode, or swimming mode for that matter. So yeah, there you go. That is it. You don't go fully to the ground, so it's, yeah. Oh, thank you for the resub, Anne. Good to see you. But yeah, so just there's that. And I'll put on some wings. I'll just become. I'll briefly become a coatl, I guess. Wings are on our list to incorporate as well. Not at this exact moment, but it is a thing that we have to bear in mind. But yep, there we go. There's flying. Everything that I put in the air like that just wiggles tremendously. It's just, it's hilarious and also fine. Okay. So yes, we have the Mermaid Fin, which is going to have a different. It's going to be very similar to the Naga Tail, but it will have a very different animation when you are swimming, so that it will actually be like flopping. I don't know if I'll do the same thing for Mermaid Tail whenever, for Mermaid Fin whenever you're mounted and sitting, versus what the Naga Tail does. Because in my experience, at least, fish aren't that flexible. You can't coil a fish. So, I don't know what's going to happen there. We then have a couple that might require height alterations, depending on the model. Namely, we have the Drider, which is a big spider with basically think a centaur, which is also on our list. But instead of a horse, it's a spider. Just a whole spider. I'm not going to look this up, because it will terrify me while I sleep this night. But yeah, side saddle. The trouble with side saddle is when you're not on an animal, as it were. Because that can, like, if you're, for example, there's the seats inside of Create, which are basically like nice cushions. You sit on those, and you're like a half slab above the ground. So does the rest of your fin just go into the ground? It's like I have to think of a reasonable solution that fits most cases. I effectively need to work within the exact same space taken up by normal Steve. Also, minecarts and boats. Yeah, there's minecarts, boats, there's then also pigs, horses, and in our mod, of course, we also have wagons. And that's just in my stuff. Just like, yeah, there's a lot. Theoretically, I can use a regular spider model for a Drider, because spiders ain't that complex in Minecraft. It's mainly just a thing of, like, they are bigger. There's no way, there's no two bones about it here. They are bigger. Let's go a regular spider here. So, like, if this head part is static, and you are just coming out of it, then that actually is about the same altitude as your legs. So maybe we start with that. That might be a good idea. Not 100%, but, you know, something to keep in mind. But yeah, you can see that they have that's not the one I want. That's the one I want. They have a significantly wider hitbox than we do. So theoretically, if we're doing that, we need to increase the hitbox, because otherwise, if we don't, then someone could, like, see your butt poking out of a wall because you don't have collision with the wall, and especially in like more of a combat environment situation, someone could attack and like their attack clearly hits your body because it goes like through your like rear spider body part, but it doesn't actually hit because you don't have a hitbox there. So, yeah. Now, ideally, your model, whilst you actually have like the spider body on, should be more of an L shape. So you've got regular human man, and then you also have spider body at the back here. But that's complicated. Minecraft does not like having creatures with multiple hitboxes. Wagons, for instance, have. Is that a Okay, I guess we've become overgrown a little bit here. Minecart, like our wagons here have multiple hitboxes through heavy augmentation, and even then, most of these are just for making it actually like usable. You point it apart, and you know what part you're interacting with. It still only has the one actual collision hitbox for the most part, which is this button down here. And I don't think it would require, at the very least, a lot of work for us to implement that into Steve. Like, although I have to say, cosmetic, like, curios and other such that add supplementary hitboxes, ooh, that does sound so fun. Are you following me, or you just happen to wander up here? Because I will hurt you. I will heck you up. Yeah, you better run. Okay. Yeah, that... Ooh, actually, is that a thing I can do? I am now curious. I don't think I can, but let me just see exactly how I implemented this. Let's see, chassis. That's the part that we actually have that provides our actual, like, hitbox. If I come all the way down here, where this actually gets used. Okay, that's updating. So then we... God, where is it? Where is it used? Part entity wagon part, yes, okay. I'm looking for the part where this actually gets, like, included. Because there is a function that I think Forge checks where that part comes in. Where is it? Is it get parts? I think it's get parts. Is multipart entity, get parts. Okay. It's not impossible for us to make Steve into a conditionally multi-part entity. But it would be a massive pain in the neck. And it would involve a lot of code very specific to the spider body. Oh, okay, that's... I've had a very frustrating week, as it were. I've done a lot of stuff, but a lot of it has been... There's been a lot of things this past week that have been just, like, jumping into my head and seem really fascinating, and I really want to get to them. Like, I'm still working on getting templates added to the species selection screen, effectively making a full-blown character creation screen. I figured out fairly recently a decent way to make possession easier, as in assuming direct control of a mob, and then I realized that if I, like, spawn a mob that despawns when it's not being possessed, and then have you auto-possess it when I spawn it, then that amounts to shape-changing. That amounts to shape-shifting. So I'm a bit excited about that. My brain is, like, ticking on for that. Special interest activated. Deep programming system that involves that allows for a lot of fun, that kind of thing. Cam, why are you looking up? Everyone knows gamers don't look up. Anyways. So yes, there's... Getting mildly back on topic. We have centaurs and horses. Well, centaurs and horses. Centaurs and driders, both of which might require us to alter your height, meaning we have to alter your actual, like, size, which is what defines the boundaries of your hitbox. Then there's a couple I have in mind that require rendering the player's skin, but onto a slightly modified model. So, wheelchairs, I think, might actually not be legs. Is a very strange thing to say, but here we are on this very strange stream. Peg legs require this because we need to render the part of your leg up to where the peg leg itself hits. So we need to render your skin on the rest of the leg, and then we need a whole separate texture for the actual peg leg. Whether that should be dyeable, or whether there should be just like wooden, iron, gold, like peg leg items with just their base textures, I don't know. I feel like people would like to actually like color their peg legs, but I don't know what kind of like look that would be. Peg legs aren't really a thing in the modern era when customizing stuff was really like easy. Because we just have like prosthesis these days. Like, you have to go back kind of far to where we don't have any kind of meaningful prosthesis nowadays. But yeah, there's a bunch. Just like, yeah, I guess that's one example. That's fairly modern. But just, yeah, we have graduated considerably since then. As just an idea. Oh, you're looking up at Shapeshifter. I see, yes. Well, having the subtype Shapeshift doesn't generally give you, like, actual shapeshifting powers. It just kind of connotes that you're of a creature type that can a little bit. But, yeah. Like, if I can get, like, that's a weird thing to realize, is that possession is mechanically very similar to shapeshifting. It's just that possession uses something that's already there. But anyways, yeah, I think a wheelchair might actually be its own item, especially because, here's the important thing, cosmetics are meant to increase diversity of character, so that you can play a character who looks more or less however you like, but a wheelchair is an assistive device, which is to say it is used in addition to you, so it shouldn't be a case of you can have satyr legs, or you can be in a wheelchair. If we only render human leg when you're in a wheelchair, then we can only have disabled humans. Or at least bipeds, I guess, more specifically. So a wheelchair actually needs to be rendered in addition to whatever legs you're wearing. Now, how a horse gets into a wheelchair, I do not know. I kind of want to Google it now, I won't lie. Horse wheelchair. Well, it's kind of a thing. It's a little bit of a thing. There's a couple here that are just wheelchairs made to look like horses. But, this looks very similar to what a lot of, like, dogs wear when they have paralyzed back limbs and such. I don't think I can make a model that will necessarily work for this without it being specifically built for when you are also actually wearing, this. I also kind of feel like the Drider and horse, legs should preclude you riding anything. Because how? But sitting, I mean, sure, you should be able to sit. But I'm just imagining, like, a centaur riding a horse into battle in Minecraft, look, and it's just like, that is a horse on a horse with a person. There's, Okay, well, there's something from BoJack Horseman, apparently, because they're human people. I'm not gonna lie, this looks like going into a boss battle unprepared. Just saying, this looks like going into a boss battle unprepared. You did it as a wolf on a horse? Yeah, I did it in... I was a wolf man, like, in, Night of Fangs, way back when, but at least a wolf man is a biped. At least a wolf man isn't the size of the horse. Whereas a centaur is literally a horse body with a human, where the head should be. Anyways, we are going to start, after all this big long rambling, on peg legs, because, oh yes, as a full wolf, well, at least the dog is like, a dog can sit on a horse. That's fine. I don't know how it's riding it in the stirrups, but it can sit on a horse. Cats do that to dogs all the time. Anyways, yes, we're going to start with peg legs, because part of the code means, like, part of the code I've done over the past week means that we should be able to have left and right individually as well as together by hiding the leg that the peg leg itself is on and then replacing it, so that we can replace individual legs as well as individual arms and other parts and such, should we wish. So that makes peg legs possible. The hardest part of that is re-rendering the player skin, but we can probably do that. We'll just have to see. Anyways, let's start. Class peg stands item legs. Public peg. Available to all in emergencies. Okay, and just gonna grab all of this basically. And we're gonna say that you can have a. We're going to say that peg legs will render basically everything, I guess, except for boots. Type in does not equal equipment slot type dot boots feet. There we go. Does not equal feet. No feet allowed on the peg legs. I don't really have any plans to make sufficient cosmetics that you can have an entire body replacement. Especially because I think this came up in the CBH Discord at some point, which was like, will I be adding head replacements, cosmetics, and snouts and such? And the answer to that is probably not. Because, as I say, cosmetics are meant to supplement your skin. But whilst you use your entire skin for self-expression, you specifically, very importantly, use the face. Granted, the face can look like anything, and at least one apparently popular douchebag YouTuber uses their face on, like, their body, but, if you have something that's even as small as, like, a wolf snout, which is a 2x3 kind of, like, thing and then extends forwards, that is taking off 6 pixels of your skin. 6 pixels on your face amounts to just shy of 10% of the entire face, making you significantly less identifiable. It's a bit like a face mask. If I go out in a face mask, people have a very different reaction to me than if I am not wearing a face mask. Understandable, it's a pandemic, but also on a gender level. So I don't have a great fondness for the notion of cosmetics that hide the player's face in any way, unless deliberately disguising you is actually the point. because the cosmetics are always going to have fixed textures, even if you dye them. That gives a significant amount of anonymity. It's like removes a lot of your expression. So it will probably come to a point by sheer density of stuff that you can fully replace your skin and fully replace your model and whatnot, but I don't have a great fondness for reaching that point because I want players to always feel identifiable. Like, recognizable as whomst they are. Unfortunately, that just happens to be a thing that, facial cosmetics and such really have trouble with. How do you add things without hiding things? Especially when something as small as a wolf snout can take nearly a tenth of your entire face. Okay, so that should add a peg leg item. Let's just quickly... I'll leave off the Lang for the moment because we're going to need to actually distinguish on the item stack which side it is. But I will give it an item model. Legs, peg. Okay. Run the data on that. Okay, all done there. Refresh that. Run. That should give us a new cosmetic that looks identically to the Naga Tail. And currently, every leg item just replaces all of the legs. This is actually an array, by the by. This is not actually like... Well, that's a set, rather. Not a single leg. But it does accept an item stack, so we can use that to return a specific leg. Should peg legs obviate boot armor? You be the judge. They're basically shoes, but they don't render like shoes. So, I don't know. Be gone. Okay. There we go. Peg leg. Right. Now, I will note we can't combine this with other leg types, because it will mean, like, firstly, if we have multiple legs on at once, they just overlap each other. There's not really any way for us to change that. But secondly, in order to tell it to stop at a point, we need to re-render the rest of the model. So it is only going to be humans with peg legs. I can't avoid that, unfortunately. It would be neat to see other monster races with, like, peg legs, but it just ain't happening. Just ain't happening. Okay. I would need to do so much combinatorial magic for that. Oof, there'd be so many custom models just to get that. No, would not work, I'm afraid. Okay. So, let's add ourselves a function, static. I guess we want limb type. Get leg from stack. Let's see, what's our default here? What side do pirates most commonly lose a leg on? I'm gonna presume the right. Let's see, compound NBT. Let's see, if stack data dot contains, let's see, we want leg, I guess. I think it's, is it 5? That's a string. 8. I thought, I was thinking of, like, I thought it was a compound, but it was an 8. Quite why they haven't enummed that, I don't know, but blame. Okay. Okay, so string leg name equals stack data dot get string leg, or side, I guess. Return leg name equals ignore case. So can I just quickly make a tiny, very tiny little thing in here? Private enum leg left and right. Implement I string serializable. There. And then public static leg from string I don't know why I've suddenly got a temptation to put a loop in here. It's literally 2 values. We're only presuming that your player has 2 legs. Maybe that's a little bit specious, maybe that's a little bit ableist, specifically because we're implementing a peg leg, but... Ay. Like, that's literally all I need, actually, right there. That's it, just right there. There we go. Okay. I think if there isn't one here, then we should write it. Put string leg to leg dot write get string. There. Okay. So now we have an item that we can alter the MBT data of to swap which leg we are replacing. Ostensibly. Let's see if we can boot up fast enough for me to test that before my break. I will say when I figured out the code to hide specific parts of the armor model, um, and that resulted in the dragon armor working with leggings, I was like so absurdly happy that I had effectively managed to implement the combat cummerbund because they have a belt effectively. That's what their legging armor is. Okay. What legs am I wearing currently? I'm currently wearing, ostensibly, right. So, my right shoe is missing. Let me... Actually, there's no point in me taking all the armor off, because it's still just a biped model. So, okay. Give me Fari QP legs peg. And we're going to say leg. Left. Okay. So if I swap this... Yeah! Look at that! We have item stack dependent removal of the leg. In fact, we can even see Steve's other leg there. Because it's not being hidden. Hey hey! Asymmetric cosmetic. Nice. Okay. Right. I'll be back in about 10 minutes. We'll start making a custom model for this, and then we figure out how to render Steve's leg. What remains, I guess, of Steve's leg. So, back after this break. Go grab yourself a snack. Welcome back, everybody. Hope you had a nice little break there. So, just before we left off there, we managed to create a single cosmetic that will alter which part of the player model is hidden and replaced, consequently, depending upon its MBT data. Meaning, we can have one item refer to the left or the right leg. Theoretically both, if you have two, I guess. Otherwise, we now need an actual model. So here is the pieces of Steve, the parts of Steve that we are particularly interested in. The torso here is mostly here just for reference, whereas we have the legs, of course, we're going to be replacing kind of both of them. We're going to start with the right and move on to the left, and as such. So, we would we presume that a peg leg, is it above or below the knee? Because I feel like both are seen. So how do we want to do it? We're not going to be bending it like Steve actually has a kneecap, but it will determine exactly how much of the leg we leave alone. So we can have it half away, we can have it a little higher, we can have it a little lower. If we have it lower, then it's going to be harder to see the peg leg. If we have it higher, then it's going to be maybe a bit too much. Tempted to just go for the middle line here, say about 5. Maybe a bit, maybe a full 6. But let's throw together a very quick peg leg here. So let's see, we want to copy, let's see, that's minus 1.9. Fun fact, Steve actually has kind of a body, like, actual, like, shape, as it were. Except that shape, I'm sad to say, is mostly around the gut, like, the gut area. Like, I guess his, like, waistline is about here, so he does have tinier hip. Like, there's a very, very slight edge here, because his legs aren't 2 points apart, they're actually 1.9 in either direction. So, they end up being a little overlapping by a tiny amount, and then there's like half a point or so over here. It's very weird. Anyways, it's a weird little like artifact, I guess, of something. I don't know why that's there, but it is. Okay, let's bring that down to 5.5, just so we overlap that a bit. So you still see the pixel, just not a whole ton of it. Okay, let's start with that being up there. We can scale this up a little bit. We can't do that in Techne, I think. But, yeah, actually maybe we can. No, because we scaled the whole dang thing. Right, yes, I remember now. Can't do it on a cube-by-cube basis, annoyingly. So let me just bring that to 5 for the moment. Okay. Just a very quick and easy kind of peg leg shape is what we're after here. Maybe make that a full 4. Back too deep. Yeah, looking okay so far. Call that peg 1. And peg 2. So we're going to need 2 different models here, because we're going to need to render part of the leg and part of the actual, like, correct peg leg. Just bearing that in mind. So this is not going to be one model. Okay, and now the eponymous peg. Do we put like a little rubber top, a little rubber bottom on this thing, or? So there we go. Fairly basic, but there we have it. A peg leg. Does that look good enough to people? Do you think we should take it higher? Bearing in mind your actual like leg texture stops here. Let me add some arms here just to give us a better idea. So there we go. Still headless, but yeah, there we go. I think we could maybe stand to make it a little higher. Not a whole ton, but just like a little bit. So theoretically, if I'm making a peg leg, at some point I have to make a hook hand. That's theoretically a thing I have to do, isn't it? Just gonna have to put that on the waiting list. For the full proper pirate's attire, accoutrement. But okay. I think we go with this for now. So, inside of here we need model leg peg. We'll call it 1. Biped model living entity. Doesn't really matter too much. Okay. And then, very simply, if we look inside of Legs Cobalt, we can just grab these two, and then all the pieces that we don't care about will never be rendered. Okay. Another thing we could maybe do is rotate the... I'm just wondering, just for a little bit of pizzazz, a teensy bit of pizzazz, we could rotate the actual peg by 45 degrees, so it's not just like straightforward. It looks a little bit, it looks a bit different. It looks more distinct from the leg than it already is, I guess. Just, as an idea, Just let me get rid of the arms, so I can figure out proper texture positions here. Oh, and I need to reduce that to 4, because we've established that I am going to be scaling it up very slightly. Okay. Is that overlapping? I don't think it is. Like, we'd notice more if it was. Okay. Right leg, close model details, fresh render out this. Right leg, set rotation point to -1.9 F, 12 F, and 0 F. That puts it in the same place as the actual rest of the leg. Texture offset 0 and 6 to add peg 1. 4 and 5. And then peg 2 is -2, 6, -2, 4, 2, 4. And if we want to keep that at a 45-degree angle, we'll need to add it as a child model renderer. Because all of the cubes in a given model renderer can only have the exact same rotation angle. So if we rotate the peg part, we rotate everything else unless we add it as a child renderer. Okay, so peg set texture offset 16.0 add into the box. Negative 0.5 f, 8 f, and negative 0.5 f. 1, 4, 1. Rotate angle y equals model utils. Do I have 45 degrees in here? I do not. Okay. 2 radians, 45 degrees. Okay. And we'll just take the left leg out of the equation entirely for the moment. Okay. So now, peg 1. Oh yeah, I literally named it leg, not legs, that's why. It's like, isn't everything the same here? No. Breach. We have a breach of protocol. Our naming convention has been broken. Okay. Should import that now. Good. Alright. So now we will not have the rest of our leg, but we will have an untextured peg. Let's find out. It'll also be exactly the same regardless which side, so that's a thing that we need to bear in mind. Now there are 2 ways that we could potentially fix which side the peg is on. The first is that we basically have both pegs in one model, in model legs peg 1, and we then set inside of the renderer before we, inside the render function before it gets rendered, which side we're actually rendering. The second is that we add an item stack input to when we are getting the model in here, and we have that then allow us to shove an entirely different, or a changed at the very least, model all the way through. Both theoretically involve changing the model, so it's probably better to do that in the render function. But there are also theoretical benefits to giving an item stack input to whatever texture or model we're actually using. That opens a lot more theoretical utility down the road. Not necessary right now, though. Okay, so there we have our untextured thing, and I've just noticed that we don't appear to have the scaled up parts. What happened to that? Should that not be visible? Should that not be larger? Isn't that like the thing here? It's just the same width all the way down. Oh no, I gave it to the wrong thing, that's why. I think I gave that to the wrong thing. Wrong scaling. 4, 1, 4, and then 4, 2, 4. There's my problem. Okay. We are going to have to override the base leg render function anyways in order to implement re-rendering the leg. But not to worry here. Slab textures not found because we've just not implemented them. Not to worry. They're mostly items anyways. There we go. That's what I wanted to see. it just functions identically to how a regular Minecraft leg works, except that it's hovering. But not to worry. Not to worry. Okay, so now we need model legs peg 2. We do want to have our right leg, but instead of all of that, we want to basically just make it a clone, albeit truncated, of the player's actual right leg. So let's see, that is -2, 0, F, -2, and then 4, 6, and 4. And I'm reasonably certain, at the very least, that these are the correct coordinates for it. But let's open up model player, or player mode, whatever. Because there's also the right leg wear that we need to be concerned of. And you can turn off your leg wear layer. I don't see anything about that in here. And it's 0.25, oh, really? Interesting. I guess it used to be 0.5, but apparently it's 2.5. It's a 0.25 now. Well, it doesn't matter too much, it's the clone of this, really. Just need the texture points, so 0, 32. I'm looking at the right leg, right? Yes, 52. 0 and 6, really? Zero and 16. Okay. There. Okay. The left leg is not the same. But it is also outright replaced by the player model because players have their own left leg texture, so they can have asymmetric legs. So let's see, 16 and 48. And then the leg wear is at 0 and 48. Okay, although we'll be rendering it right now anyways. Okay, so there is a pre-existing case where we have rendered a secondary model in addition to our main model. That is the Kirin horns, the Storm Sage horns, because those render basically 2 different items at once. I don't think I have a case where we render an entirely separate model. I don't think that's a thing that happens. Nope. But let's open up item horns. So, yep, that just happens right there. In our case, Kirin Storm, little object horns ram. Yeah, there we are. That's what I'm looking for. Because these had to be specially re-rendered. So that'll probably be just fine for us. Okay. Just clone that, bring it into here. So let's see, we want super, render, all the good stuff there. And then we basically want to actually render this identically to how the regular player leg is rendered. We want to model that leg and we want to get the textures. So, if we go to player renderer, I presume, has it. Because we need to get the texture. Let's see. Abilities, super, just render. You must get the texture from somewhere. There you are. Abstract, client, player, entity, get location, skin. So there's our texture. We should have a living entity. Yep, there we go. Nope, that's correct. Get location skin. Okay. Good. We don't have to worry about the pre-render callback. That's fine. Okay. Entity model, all of the good stuffs. Vertex builder is from the render type, which is the regular thing, I think. Let's see, entity in is visible, is invisible to player, is oh boy. They made this a bit more complicated than it needed to be, but okay. I presume we're... yeah, we are just rendering it 1Fs here. I'm more or less just copying this verbatim from Living Renderer because I don't need it to be any different. I actually need it to be identical in function. It shouldn't be too difficult. You never know. Where's our buffer? Render type buffer? Yeah. Let's see. Get render type, I guess. Don't know. Living. Let's see. We got is visible. Invisible to clients and is glowing. Literally, why on earth do they even have a function that called is visible? On the basis of the only thing it does is return not invisible. I know not, but Minecraft code is awful. So let's see, not is visible and not living invisible to player. And then our last one is glowing. I'm gonna take a wild guess and say this just checks if the entity is glowing, but you never know. Okay. Okay, can we just give this the texture right off? I think we can. Okay, so if they are invisible to player, otherwise, if they are visible, model rend. Oh, that's the model? Hmm. Oh, there's so many things in this. And otherwise, if they're glowing, the outline, otherwise nothing. Okay. What are you complaining about? Undefined for the type object. Oh, right, of course. So what do you do for a living? Oh, I'm a leg model. The second leg model. The understudy, if you will. Okay, that does not currently bind the texture, but should be close to it. Oh yes, let's see, flag 1 relates to invisible to client. And there is presumably a point before the model renders that we actually bind the texture. Somewhere in here. But I'm not actually seeing it, which is a little disconcerting. Somewhere in here, the resource location must be retrieved. And then actually used to render, but I don't actually see it. Is that part of the render type, then? I can only presume it's part of the render type. Either way, we'll find out in a hot second. Because that should be good to go to render what remains, at least, of the right leg. Let's find out. Or it'll crash near instantaneously the second that we hit F5. One of the two things will happen. But we are fed an item stack when we go to render, so that's a good sign. Means I don't need to change that. I just need to tell the leg model exactly which leg it is. And our survey says nothing happens. Interesting. Oh, wait, no, it kind of happened. we have We have a little leg back there. Whoop. Hello, spoopy cheera. Thank you for the spoopy cheer. So we have. If I take off my boots, it might be a little easier to see. Yeah, we have. We have a fragment of Steve's head here for some reason. Lord only knows what is going on there. But yeah, there it is. That's not even the same size or orientation, so something's definitely going weird. Okay. Right, well, probably part of it is that we did not feed our angles in, so it's not actually even animating according to us. So let's just run to render here. Set rotation angles. Want to add that to our thing. Not a Lego aheado, yeah, just, we have a vestigial head just affixed to our left leg. Okay, so that'll make it animated, not until we refresh. Yeah. But why is it like that? That's my question. 464, yeah, these are all correct. It's very interesting. Maybe I should get it moving, at least. And then I guess I need to go look at the Storm Sage? Yeah, current storm. There you are. Let's see, is there anything else in here that we did? It doesn't look like it. Very interesting. It's not the right scale. It's clearly not the right position. It is technically the right texture, but it doesn't look like it was rendered with the right texture. So I wonder if that's part of it. Hang on, let's take a look at player model. Oh, that's a bunch of stuff going in there. If we feed that in, that should help a bit, at least. Reboot that. God, it has actually been entirely possible for me to make like a vestigial twin cosmetic, come to think of it. Oh, I just create like a couple of cuboids poking out of the player's like chest. Give them your skin, and then we literally just have a vestigial twin cosmetic. Oh, that's horrifying. I kind of like that, but that is horrifying. Oh, and as if on cue, the splash text is Tetsuo! I don't think there was a vestigial twin in Akira, but it wouldn't surprise me. There was a lot of vestigial things. Okay. Well, it is definitely now leg. At least. And it does appear to be moving with our right leg. But it's still really tiny. For reasons I cannot remotely fathom. Is it literally just that I haven't pushed and popped this? Probably is, honestly. We have a matrix stack in here, I presume. Yep. This will just isolate it from other things that are going on at the moment. Now, the default Minecraft skin doesn't have any headwear layers or accessory layers, I don't know, but you can turn those on and off inside of your client. I don't know if that's a thing handled elsewhere. I didn't see it anywhere in the player renderer or the player model. So I can only presume that that's handled by the player when we get their skin here. Get default skin, get location skin via the network. Load player textures. Get the model, default, yeah. I don't see it. I do not see it. So, you may just have to deal with your entire, well, not even your entire, but a decent chunk of your, like, I don't know, trouser leg or something appearing, but it shouldn't be too big of a problem, I think. Okay. It's still there, still very tiny. Did I egg something up with this? Why is it so tiny? I don't think I messed anything up with it. God, this is weird. Presumably as well, if I put left leg in here, then it'll do the same thing. Is it because of child model? No, they're different models. We have the model for the leg, which should be here, and we have the model for that. They're not children at all. And if they were children, they wouldn't be here, and they wouldn't be rescaled like this. This is fascinating. What a weird bug. Like, does anything else happen to the model? Oh, that's where they set the visibility. Okay, well, now I know. I'm not seeing anything here. Pre-render callback just makes it slightly smaller. But that shouldn't be a problem for us. Oh, there's a point. We have, like, things for swimming and flying. That shouldn't be a problem. Let's have a look. Yeah, the weird hunk of leg is still right where it should be. Good. This is such a bizarre bug. Can I? Okay, it is 4 pixels. So it's not like a really small thing. It is actually like exactly the scaling it should be relative to itself, at least. It's just really, really small. And really weirdly positioned. I don't think I see anything in here that relates to rescaling. Model angles, no. Don't see anything about rescaling there. I just put the super part after. Literally, things in when it comes to rendering, the dumbest things can cause problems like that, and that is the only thing I can think of that makes sense here. It's like maybe we finish off the render and then it figures that there's something that's reset by that point. I don't know. Let's have a look real quick. Doesn't seem like it there, but who knows? Minecraft is a travesty, as we all know. So we successfully added a peg leg, and then we have now added a groove. I don't know how we've done this. I genuinely don't. This is utterly bizarre. Okay, no, it's still there. And we do have both legs now. Oh, hang on, the legs aren't together, looks like. Yeah, there's a gap between the legs. Oh, that is fascinating. I could basically make a tiny human under there. Is it I wonder if it's that. I genuinely wonder if that's the problem. If the model size is the issue. Oh lord, here we go. Let's find out, shall we? Yeah, because it defaults... I think it's generally a 0. Generally. Well, if that is it, then we're about to find out some very interesting things about how to make... I guess, like... what are they called? Puppets on strings? Run stick puppet? Run string? Not sure. Like Pinocchio. Whatever that mode of puppet is called. I know not. Fingers crossed. Nope, it is not the model scale. I didn't put that in the right thing, did I? Leg 2? Yeah. Let's see, Y offset, texture width, texture heights, those are all correct. Render type in, yeah, that's fine. Model size is the only thing that makes any sense. Let's find out what values get fed to model size. On the off chance that's it. Zero F, and then use small ups. Yeah. Okay. And there's the visibilities, which is based on other things, which we'll probably implement at a later point. Not important right now. Is it the pre-render callback? That doesn't make any sense. I've never seen something like this happen. It's utterly bizarre. Oh yes, leg one. That probably won't fix it, but we live on hope. Just utterly vestigial legs now. Weird. It's like this doesn't happen with the rest of the legs, and those are all scaled the same way. Why is it specifically happening with our oh, there's a fort. When we get the render type, where are you? Render offset, model visibilities. Get entity texture, I think, does a different thing here than what Living Renderer does when it's getting the render type for the model. Yeah, that calls get entity texture, which should just call the same thing. The same output should be fine. I'll say, I was not expecting this to be a bug. There we go. I don't know what I changed. Like, what does that do? Does that actually do any kind of scaling? No. It sets the model attributes. Oh! Oh, I bet I know what it was now. Okay. There is a value in biped model called isChild, and it defaults to true. Because we weren't calling anything to position anything, it was just always on its default of true. So what we were seeing were little baby legs. Little baby Steve legs. Yes, Cam, you were right, but I thought you meant like a parented model part, not like a child model. A model of a child. Wow. Okay. Well, we have our peg leg now. Okay, right. So, do we want to... Why would it default to baby? I don't know. I genuinely don't. That's been in Minecraft for years. Like a decade at this point. I don't know why it defaults to child. But it does. But okay, so... Do we want the peg leg to be dyeable? Or do we want it to be, like, material? So, wooden, rock... I don't know why I'd have a rock peg leg, but maybe that's fine. Rock, like, other things. The joys of coding Minecraft. Yeah. It really is. Okay, so that should still also be fine if we're in here. Yeah, it's a little off, I gotta say. We probably want to fix that. I guess we probably... Can we do that to the... I guess... Why is that not following? Do I just render two different models here? That's the question, I guess. Guess I could. Might as well. Probably be fine. At least then I can be certain that they're going to do things. Is there a... Where I saw a smidge of texture that shouldn't be there on Steve's head for a second there. Yeah. Does that mean it's not glued to my leg properly? No, it's not. I don't think. I probably need to copy over some attributes then. Okay. Because you don't want your peg leg flying off, do you? Yeah, I think I'm very briefly seeing it. Okay, right. I'm gonna go take my break. Because that was an absurd ordeal. But there we go, I guess. Criminy. I'm guessing, is it in player model? Yeah, I'm guessing it's in player model set living animations that I'm thinking of here. Set rotation angles. No, it doesn't look like it. Oh, interesting. The only thing that gets modified is the model attributes. That is it. Which I'm guessing... There's the living animations, which we don't usually care about. Not a lot happens in them, as you can see. But maybe. Let's see, player renderer. There's the visibilities. Which obviously we also need to call because we need to determine if we should hide the leg wear. But anyways, yes, I'll be back in like 10 minutes. We'll finish this up on the legs. I'll see you then. Right, everybody, welcome back. And just as we left off there, we managed to get, in the dumbest way possible, our our replacement leg, as it were, to actually render properly. And I've noticed that it does seem to have some shortcomings, because our main model should be working just fine, but it looks like we do have some distinction here. Living biped an array? Why is that taking an array? Whereas this is just taking the biped model. Interesting. Can we not just give it the biped model there? This may have some knock-on effects. Oh, no, we can't just do that. It should be following the same thing. The peg model and the leg model are identical in terms of their arrangement, so we shouldn't have any trouble there. Their rotation points should be identical. Yeah. So I'm not entirely clear why we have this weird problem. Those are just render settings for the most part, so it shouldn't be related to that. Unless it's because our peg is, yep, set to 0 again. That might be it. Let's find out if model size is stored anywhere in here. If it affects anything. It doesn't look like it. Can only make sense if there's something in here related to the leg. Let's say the left leg. 1.90F, yes, the right leg should be negative 1.9 in biped model. Negative 1.9 and 12, yep, good, that is exactly the same. Okay. Let's see, leg wear, copy it, yes, that's fine, we do need to remember to turn that off. I don't see anything here related to pose. And if it's not in player model, it will be in biped model, which we are extending for our legs model and our peg model. No, looks fine. So unless there's something happening inside of Living Renderer where it is getting altered, get render offset is crouching, should just refer to get pose equals crouching, yeah. Is discrete? Is descend? Why are there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different things that all functionally refer to the exact same thing? Discrete, descending, suppressing, bounce, stepping carefully, sneaking. Why is sneaking and crouching a separate thing? I presume that's because that's for actually the rendering part. Like if you're in the like flying form, like when you're say under a piston or something, then I guess it makes sense to have that be separated from whether you're actually sneaking. But why are there 4 things that just fetch the exact same flag? Why? What weirdness is this? Okay, anyways. Is there a translation in this living renderer? If there is, then that would explain some troubles. Is it related to the living renderer, maybe? To the living animations, maybe? Let's see, that's limb swing. Looks like it is referenced in here for the rotation angles. Separately to the values we get in, I think. Not 100% on this. Let's see, scale, inverts, scale, more or less just flip you back up. That's fine, as near as I can tell. That is way too little a change. I'm not seeing any other translation in here. Yeah, so it doesn't look like that's likely to be involved. Let's check biped models, living animations. Swim animation. Could that be it? Now, if that was it, then we would already be seeing that in place. It's very odd. I don't know what's going on with it. Hang on. Cape? No. Won't be related to the cape. No, I don't know, off the top of my head, why there is this slight but noticeable, particularly when you're in the face down kind of pose, difference in these things. Like, biped model doesn't do anything else, but it might just be that. It's about the only thing I can think of. Like, everything else we've got locked down. That's fine. I don't know if it's a problem with the peg or the leg. More specifically. What's that secondary value I got there? Packed light. Do we have a packed light value in here? No, we don't. We probably want to do that at some point. Let's see, where's Lim Rendra? Packed overlay? Hello. Why are those separate things? Packed light and packed overlay. Do we get either of those things? We don't. So there's the overlay. Okay. So that's where something we want to fix up at some point. I don't think that's related, though. Okay, so I'm just going to put in a to-do here. Hide leg wear contextually. And let's also put in a fix me for, what's the phrase here? Keep things, correct misalignment, I guess, of leg and peg. Okay, so now we need to tell now we only have a right peg. So let's fix this up and get it to show a left leg. That is our next thing. Okay. Let's see, so switch, get leg from stack, that stack. Add the missing cases. That is not correct. Why? Oh, limb type, right, yes, that's probably the wrong thing. Wait, should that not be leg? Hang on. Have I hacked this up somehow? Get leg, yeah. It should be get limbs and not get leg. And we default to right. solves that problem real quick. Okay, so let's see. Set leg. We just do that, we can make this a little easier. Let's see, let's get ourselves a base class that we can use. So, model legs peg. Just want to be abstract. Biped model for living entity. Leg void set leg in. It's private, so we need to expose that. And leg peg 2 needs to now extend from model leg peg. I have no idea what that's looking for. What is that? As a render type? Yeah. Render type, model size, I think. Ah, there you are. That's what it is. Is there a difference when it goes through that? No call 6432. Otherwise, it goes a whole other way. What? Where's the Boolean come in? Is child head scaled? Okay then. And then it gives us 16F0. What's going on with this? What does that feed to? It's literally just the scales of the pieces. I wonder if that's related. What a weirdness this is. Anyways, we got this, so now we can have that. So now this can extend from that. Still going back to... Oh no, not right. I don't think that's related to our current weird desynchronization. Okay, so switch leg in, case left, this biped left leg dot show equals true, and the right leg should be false. And I break. Okay. And the inverse when we have it as the right leg. There. Now we have a function on both of these things that just sets which side is visible. So, yep, set leg right there. And we want to do the same thing to our other one, which is currently named model. Is that a protected value, or is that just public? Protected. Okay, so we can see it, thankfully. Okay, that should mean that both the peg and the leg are on the same side. So now we should be able to see peg legs and legs on either side, as well as both. Still no texture, but, you know, understandable. We only just created this thing. Of course, there's no texture yet. I swear either my shoulders are underlined or there's a distinct chest size difference, because I always end up with, like, lopsided, a lopsided tank top on these rooms. Okay, so there's our right leg. If I swap... Well, we have a slight hang-up there, which is that I didn't actually model the left peg leg. Whoops. Steve's had an accident. Steve's had a very unfortunate accident. And now an even more unfortunate accident, but we're mostly there. We're mostly there. Just hop. You can. I believe in you, Steve. You can hop through this problem. It does look like there may be a little desync, I think, there. Going to be so easy with like, given this, it would be incredibly easy to make a to make a cosmetic which just like makes you a double amputee below the knee. I don't know how inclusive I have to be, or rather, I don't know how inclusive I should be, like how much work I should put into this. I feel like just having the wheelchair alone gives me some quality. I don't think I need to include cosmetics to have any viably any combination of missing limbs, but I don't know. People might appreciate them. Okay. So let's see. Peg 1 is the part I need to add to. Let's retitle that to peg R. Peg R. Get it? Because it's good for making movies. Just had a monster eat my leg, I guess. That's technically not a limb cosmetic. That's a missing limb cosmetic. Okay. Exchange right in there for left. Invert that, and add it to the rendering there. There. That should give us our new thing. And just set biped left leg to mirror. Okay. Now we should be able to have double peg leg. And there will be 2 pegs. Spider stole my leg, I was using that. Spam a keyboard and hack into the mainframe. I mean, technically I am altering the base code of Minecraft here. I will say. I do have mixin, which is exactly what that is. It's actually like altering what Minecraft does by rote. In fact, we're doing that right now to replace parts of the model. Nothing like what the movies told me. I hate to say it, but hacking in the real world versus hacking in computers is not very interesting to watch. But there we go, double peg. And I can even tie those together to make them one cosmetic. Yeah, I think I'm kind of missing some stuff. Not sure. Yeah, It's 4 minutes ahead. Oh, that? Yeah. See, he lost a leg on one trip and a leg on another. Yep. There's times in the mines. Yeah, it looks like we do have some... It looks like it's desync in the animation part, as near as I can tell. I think. Not so much in the actual positioning. 23.2 says 23.5. Really? 4 minutes off? You know, funnily enough, every other clock I have agrees. And I'm not sure why specifically my computer won't be off. Immaterial for the most parts. Okay, so what could cause that difference? Like, there's a fairly substantial difference there. What could cause that? Can we fix that in the next 20 minutes? Like, I can only... Like, if there's an alteration in the values... Firstly, that's probably affecting every single pair of legs, come to think of it. So... Set living animations might help it. But that's probably affecting it from the base values. Let's find out. Everything else is actually, like, more or less identical to it, though. Everything is a biped model for living entity. Everything goes through the rotation angles there. I don't see a point where it should deviate. But apparently it is. I call time shenanigans. Yeah, temporal a temporal anomaly has overtaken my workstation. Oh, hello. That actually fixed it. Setting the living animations has actually fixed it. Yeah. I don't know how, because we weren't putting that on the... We weren't putting that onto the rendered legs. But apparently setting the living animations has fixed that. Okay, let's do a spot of flying, see how that looks. Yeah, looks like they're stable. How odd. How odd. But okay. We now have our double peg legs available. Well, welcome to a new chatter apparently, but I'm not reading anything in a language I can't read. Not a chance in hell. That is a bad plan on twitch.tv. But okay. Right. Grand. And if we put on our legs... Yep, we've still got full actual leg. It's Trans Awareness Week, so I guess I get to say I'm non-binary. Yep, and we lose the one boot that we don't have a foot to put it on, so good. Very nice. Doesn't seem to have any intersection problems. Yeah. So we just have our missing limb. Yay. If you have to pick a gender, though, pick male. Pick a dude. Pick a boy. Sure, I'm fine with that. I'll take it. I understand why people go for that, given the voice. But okay. Hurrah! We have ticked a thing off of our list there. Peg legs. So, can I get a spider body in the next, like, 20 minutes? Probably. Probably can. Again, that feels like it should be one that prevents you from actually riding anything. But how much of a pain, like, ugh. I feel like I can't say that you shouldn't be able to ride anything, because if it's like a seat, then sure, but the thing is, seats and like actual like horses and whatnot are indistinguishable. There's no way that I could say you can't ride an animal and know whether or not it makes any sense for you to be able to ride it. So, yeah. Heck it, let's try and make a spider body. Let's see what we got. Real quick, we're not even going to try and tint this at all. Where's my... There you are. Well, at least we managed to fix a bug we didn't even know we had. Okay. Spider model. Oh, will this require us to render the eyes? Here, quick question for chat. If we have a spider body that is basically an entire spider below the waist, well, below your waist, should it have its own eyes? Like, hang on, there is a character who comes to mind. I feel like it goes without saying I'm about to pull up a picture of a spider person, but if a picture of a spider person is bad for you, then now would be the time to look away. Okay, there you are. That's what I'm looking for. Oh, that's a tiny picture. Dang it. Be a bit more helpful in scale for me, please. Okay, a statue will suffice for this. Right. So there we have. This is in the show it's called an arachne, but it has basically an entire spider for the bottom half, and then a person to the waist. If we look for Drider, which is what this is even worse, which is more what I'm thinking of when I'm thinking of spider lower body, we more or less just have where the spider head would be back, but still joined at the body. I feel, for this particular venture, that doing it from the head of the spider will be easier for us. That's about where your body stops anyways. The question then becomes, do we want to have eyes? If we do, that's another render layer that we have to do. But otherwise... Okay, where's Techne? There's Techne. Okay. We're not re-rendering anything here. We're basically not using anything that we just made. We're just needing to know where the parts of the spider go. So, okay, there's the spider head, which is at 15, and -3, and is all 8s across the board. -4, -4, -8, apparently. Oh, it's a bit far forward. Well, that's fine. We're going to be more or less cloning the model, but then changing, like, different pieces. I feel the eyes are too much. Yeah, how about having 2 spider bodies, one with eyes and one without? So a seeing eye spider body? Oh, imagine. Okay, call that the head. This next part is actually labeled as the neck inside of the spider model, but that is definitely not a thing. And that's just 15. Okay. And it is 6s across the board. And -3, -3, -3. Nice and even. I like it. Ah, so actually, the spider neck, such as it is, actually lines up with the bottom of our torso. So we might not even need the head. We just need to make it a little wider. That'd be nice. We will give this the same positions, though. Spider neck is at 0, 0. Spider head is at 32 and 4. That's unusual. That is actually kind of very unusual. Huh. Generally speaking, when you have an entity's texture file, the head is the parts that are at the top, usually top left. Having the neck be here is very fascinating. I wonder if that's just an artifact of how old this model is. Okay, and the body is 8, 12... Wait, no, 10, 8, and 12. It is located at 15 and 9. And stream ends, you sleep, you know. -5, -4, -6. So once again, whoop, no, that's the wrong value. -5, -4, -6. That is once again dead. Identical. Yeah. I think we can get away without having the head. Yeah, I think we can. Okay, so let me just plug in the texture locations for these. So let's see, the neck is located at 0, 0. The head is at that. The body is at 0 and 12, this big old thing. Yeah, that's a weird arrangement. Let me just move this out of the way, because we don't need it. Just give us an idea of where it is, effectively. Yeah, that's an odd arrangement for a Minecraft texture file. Yeah, I think we can get rid of this. Goodbye. And then we just expand the torso. Oh, which is going to throw off our texture, come to think of it. So we'll have to just probably upscale that a teensy smidge. But should be fine, otherwise. Yeah. And then there's all the legs. Which, for the moment, I'm not going to model all the legs, because we only have like 10 minutes left in the stream tonight. So, okay. For this, we need to render both all of the legs and the body. The body is going to stay stationary and not move, though. I guess unless you're sneaking, then we could have like the back part tilt up a little bit. Maybe. It is hovering off the ground, so we have some room. We have some room to play with there. Okay, so this biped body equals model utils, fresh renderer. What is the sizing on the spider model? Quick Q. It is unchanged, so I presume it's default. Yeah, 64, 32. write that down for my own benefit. Texture height 32. Texture width 64. Okay. So the rotation point is 0, 15, 0 for that. And if we subtract 9 from that and add it to here, then we get the values for what that should be. Although if we're going to be separating that to be animated slightly, it'll require a little bit of a work. So I guess we'll keep it as it was. And in that event, I also probably want to be futzing about with the offsets a bit. There. So now, if I want to have it go anywhere, I can actually, like, move it. Which I think people will appreciate. But okay, so the neck part. 0, 0. Add box. Minus free F. Minus free F. Minus free F. And 666 and 0.5F. Should scale it up. Hopefully enough to encompass the entire lower body. It's not a huge problem, I just kind of prefer, of our two little reference images, where have I taken those? Of our two images here, I prefer it being larger than the waistline at the bottom there. Okay, model renderer, spider, it has a thing specifically here, 4x, I guess? I don't know off the top of my head what it's called. And fun fact, because of how we're doing this, we will probably be completely texture pack consistent, so if you retexture vanilla spiders, the big ones, it'll affect this too. Okay, spider 4x, there you are. Rotation is 0, 0, 3. Should be F's just as a point of preference here. Okay, and then the add box, -5, -4, 0, 10, 8, 12. Add child, the 4x. Okay, so now we need to just quickly go to, that should suffice, yep. Get that. Don't care about the legs right now, we just care about the body. And let's quickly implement ourselves a new class. Much like the Naga, we don't want this rendering with basically anything. And in our case, we're not actually looking for one of our textures. We're looking for the root texture of spiders. So namely, that one. Is that a public value? No, it's not. Pity. Okay. So we plonk that in here. Again, it's not going to have any legs yet. Just putting that out there, it's not going to have legs. So it'll be mostly a heavily abused spider, maybe. But it'll be there. I can add legs later, when I'm not very short on time. Was a Drider buddy. Makes most sense to me. Just add a quick item file here too. All the things I could have added first, okay. And we need to add an item tag, or else we won't be able to put it into any of our slots. Okay. Run the data to generate that. Okay. Refresh the resources and run. This should give us something that renders with a actual, like, spider body. Should this be dyeable? Let me know. If it's dyeable, then we may have to change the texture, in which case it will not directly reflect actual spiders you encounter in the world. Or maybe there should just be a version for, like, a version for regular spiders and a version for cave spiders. Okay. So body needs more legs. Oh, I know. There's gonna be more legs. Rainbow spiders. Oh, jeez, imagine. Okay, well, something's definitely gone wonky here. What did I miss? What did I miss? Oh, I wonder if it's because that's not the base rotation point. I wonder if that's it. But our legs are gone, and I must have missed the texture offset here. Yes, I did. Okay, so that's why we're seeing part of the spider's face on our, over here. Okay. What was the texture position for that? 0 and 12. Wait, 0 and 12? Yeah, 0 and 12. Okay. Fixes that. Okay. Run that. It's interesting that we see, like, both times I've made an item tonight, we've hit some weird and, in both cases, very unique bug. I don't quite know how we've managed that, but such is Minecraft. Nothing is ever quite so straightforward. Right, is that still on my face? Not a thing I ever want to say about a spider body. Yes, it is still on my face. But at least now it's properly textured. Okay, so why is it ending up here? Is that part of the rendering code from Tails? I don't see anything here that would cause it to do that where legs wouldn't. The only thing I can think of is that... I mean, everything else works there, that's good to see. It is definitely mounted to my head. It shouldn't be there, but it is. And yeah, that's certainly... I don't know how, but the code is broken. Isn't that just coding? Yeah, you're not wrong. It's working, I don't know why. It's broken, I don't know why. Okay, so what could cause that? We know that we're setting the living animations now. There's a thought, I should check the other legs. Make sure those are working. That's to that, so that should decide where it goes, and indeed they do appear to be rendering exactly where they should be relative to each other. It's just not rendering where it should be relative to me. So how do legs go where they should be, but this body part doesn't? I can only presume that something in the rotation angles or such is altering where the body should be. That's the only thing that makes sense to me. So, we will fix this by completely ignoring it, because we're going to be anyways. There. So now, limb swing, all that stuff, changing of where the body is, doesn't ever get touched. Does that change anywhere? Let's see. Yeah, right there. If you're not sneaking, the body's rotation point gets set to 0 instead of 15. Why? Because the only thing that'll do is move your torso to your face. How odd? Why? Minecraft. That's not even coding, that's just Minecraft. Okay, that should put our torso where it should be, though. We will care about limb swing and whatnot momentarily when we get to the legs. Now, since our, spider body actually lands right below our torso, we shouldn't have to worry about changing the spider legs at all. And I am over time now, but, you know, we're doing something weird and interesting. Let's see if it's fixed. So the default biped model, this doesn't even count as a biped really, does it? But yeah, shouldn't be doing anything weird to it now, and it still is somehow. How? Overrides there. Okay. Why is our body standing at 0 then? Why is it still at our face? Minecraft's code just gets random treasure. Yep! God, this is weird. This is really weird. I don't know what's going on with this one. Okay. Is it happening at the body parts section? When the ageable model gets rendered? No, can't be. We know it's not being set to a child. How very odd. How very odd. It's like, where's that referenced? Let's find out. Obviously all of our stuff. We check our model. Biped model. Attributes, maybe? No. Just biped body, copy model angles. By chance, does that happen to copy the rotation point? Yes, it does. Where does that get called? Nothing hugely weird, but we probably want to have that not do that. I should really just make a different model renderer. That'll avoid all of this problem. Like, literally everything there will stop, because it will no longer be messing with it. I was being a bit too clever for my own good there, I think. Well, let's see. And I'll try and add at least a couple of legs. I wonder if I can change your walk sound with this. Because I feel like you shouldn't make... Like, right now, you will... Regardless of what legs you're wearing, you will make the exact same walk sound. I wonder if I should change that. Why is it like that? Okay, well we have our one part, but we don't have... Where's the back of this gone? Tell you what I should do is just actually make that 0, add 15 to that, and then I know these are all the same thing. Where is... Oh, because I did it to the right. Yes, that's where the back of this went. Okay. We know the body is at 0, so... That needs to be 12. 0. 12. Okay. This would also have changed things. Would also have fixed things. Drider Steve is missing his butt. Yeah. Alright. While I'm in here, let's add some legs, shall we? Let's add some legs. I'm relatively certain I don't need any of this stuff open now. Blip. All the spider legs are identical, and their rotation points should not matter. There. Their texture points should also be fine. Dear lords, that's how... Oh boy. Okay. Fine. I don't know why I'm finishing off the stream, making what would ultimately be kind of my nightmare, but here we are. Okay, and there's your rotation angles, and dear God, it's a nightmarish mess. Ugh, I could probably clean that up a ton for right now, we're not gonna care. God, look at this. It alternates left and right. You could just do that with a loop and a multiplier, but okay. Right. That should add our body, that should add our butt back, and it should add all of our legs. And yes, they'll move. So here we go. Here's our closer for the evening. Make it work, then make it pretty. Absolutely. If you come to a stream where I implement things for the first time ever on camera, expecting things to be perfectly finished, no. The opening like 10 minutes where I rant about stuff, sure, maybe, but no. It usually looks perfect an hour after stream. Yeah, if we want to be able to, like, dye the spider body, then we're going to need a different texture. And if we use a different texture, we can't use the vanilla one, which means it will not necessarily directly mirror what we see of the regular spiders. Anyways, here we go. Little weird there. Hang on. What's happening there? Why is our butt like that? Because I didn't alter this rotation point to match. Okay, yeah, that's fine. I understand that now. That needs to be 15. But okay, there's our legs. I look like some kind of science fiction villain. Like, if these were retextured to be, like, robotic or something, this would look like a weird... I look like a Venture Brothers character, I've just realized. There's a Venture Brothers character who literally looks like this. Anyways, do the leggies work? The leggies work and I hate it. The leggies work and I hate it. Oh, Lord. Discount Doc Ock, yeah. Oy, ay, ay. It's, once you've done it and you've shown it off, you'll never touch it again, so that's the reason why you're getting done now. I guess. Okay, well, fixed that, so that should be fine. I will tidy the hell this up later. I think there's a very slight brownish tint to normal spiders, but right now it's just being rendered with, like, standard coloring. White, effectively. No tint. If we had eyes, you could dye those. That'd make sense. Just a matter of how much we want you to be able to change this one. Like, how uniform should spider bodies be? I think it'd be nice to have a green, like a dark green for, like, if you're a jungle spider or something. There we go. That's what it should be. I like how the Netherite leggings are blending with this. But there we go. We got ourselves a spider body, and we didn't even have to change our size much. Like, we're still a regular sized person, which isn't what we should be, but it's what we'll take for now. There we go. We got a Drider, and this is a little. I guarantee this looks really weird when I go flying. I'm the worst ripoff of the Fly. There we go. I'm practically a helicopter. I'm practically a biplane. I'm a single prop plane here. God, that's weird to look. But yeah, there we go. We got spider body, everybody. It was way simpler and still needs some work, but hey, there we go. Closing off our night with spider body. Hope you've enjoyed, everybody. That's all I got, and all I'm willing to do more on for this particular thing right now. But my next stream will be on Thursday, probably with some more Among Us, maybe with some more Sea of Thieves. We'll see what the group's up to. Then on Saturday, we have some random games in the carousel and talk about what's been going on this past week. There should barring severe incident, there should be a Clockwork and Memory episode this Saturday. And then I'll be back next week for hopefully not more of this specifically, but more stuff, sure. And I'll see you then. Meanwhile, any videos I make are redo.com/rumorcomic, and everything I do is powered by you at patreon.com/lying. That goes towards everything, paying my bills, keeping the lights on, and even paying for my medication, so please and thank you. And as ever, I'll catch you all next time. Please God, get this off my screen. Thank you.